motions, memorandum, certificate of service, and affidavit. Examples of motions, memorandum, certificate of service, and affidavit are posted on our website. Motions and memorandum. A motion and a memorandum are documents that you create, and they both follow the same procedure. The difference is just the title. Thus, you can replace the word motion with the word memorandum. Motion, you are asking the court to do something. Memorandum, you are reporting to the court information. You write a motion to ask the court to avoid a lien, to change your case from a Chapter 13 to a Chapter 7, to consider new evidence, or to reconsider its ruling. Basically, you can use a motion for many different kinds of requests. With every motion, you also have to file a notice of motion, notice of filing of motion, a certificate of service, and an order. Notice of filing of motion lets the other side and the court know that you filed a motion. Notice of motion lets the other side of the court know when and where you will come in front of a judge to have your motion ruled on. Certificate of service lets the court know that you mailed a copy of the motion, notice of motion, notice of filing of motion, and the order to the other side. You have to mail the other side copies of each. If you do an internet search, you can find examples of all these documents. Examples of notice of motion, notice of filing of motion, a certificate of service, and an order are posted on our website. Judges usually hear motions in the mornings. You have to go to the judge's website to find the days and the times your judge hears motions. Look at the following example. This is important because you will use this heading for all these documents. At the top of the motion, you put the name of the court, which will be the same for every state. The next line is the district, which will depend on where you filed your case. Some states have no district. For states that have no district, you will leave the line blank. If you do not know the district, then ask the clerks. Look at the next part. In this part, you will have to put a lease on one defendant's name, and then put et al. The et al. Lets the court know that there is more than one defendant, but instead of writing 10 defendants' names, you use et al. Look to the right. This is where you put the bankruptcy case number. You must put the case number on every document. If you have this information, make sure the judge's name, trustee's name, Chapter 7 or Chapter 13, bankruptcy case number, and the adversary case number is on the document like shown. Next is the title of the motion. The title must be all uppercase, underlined, and centered. The next line is telling the judge who the motion is from and what you're asking. The next part is telling the judge all the facts and the reasons why you need to have your motion granted. For example, I need a change because on April 22, 2016, I experienced medical illness and broke my leg and could not return to work until June 16, 2016. On May 23, 2017, I lost my job and got a pay cut. There can be a host of reasons. Plus, put down as many dates as you can remember. Next, write, attached are medical records, old and current pay stubs, letters from my doctor, repair estimates. You will be attaching any documents that help prove what you have stated. However, you do not attach these documents at this point. You attach them at the end of this document. Remember, do not pull the full account number or your full Social Security number on any document. Next, you state once again what you are asking the court to do. Next, put your full name, address, phone number, and email address. Plus, always put next to your signature, if you are the debtor, plaintiff. Then sign and date the motion. The next part is the certificate of service. Certificate of service. Certificate of service lets the court know that you mailed a copy of the motion, notice of motion, notice of filing of motion, and the order to the other side. The title must be all uppercase, underlined, and centered. Look at this example. This is where you're telling the court 1. What you mailed. 2. who you mailed this document to. 3. How it was mailed. 4. Where it was mailed. 5. What time you mailed it. Remember, with every motion, you also have to file and mail a copy of the motion, notice of motion, notice of filing of motion, certificate of service, and an order to the other side. Use schedules D, E/F, and G to help you fill out the names, addresses, and phone numbers. For student loans, you will always use a lawyer for the U.S. Department of Education and the lawyer for the Education Credit Management Corporation. Next, put your full name, address, phone number, and email address. Plus, always put next to your signature if you are the debitor, plaintiff, then sign and date the certificate of service. Notice of filing of motion. Notice of filing of motion lets the other side and the court know that you filed a motion. If you are changing a Chapter 13 to a Chapter 7, the heading will be simple as shown. If you are doing student loans, then the heading will be like the one shown. You must put down the correct title. Some lawyers will have more than one motion being heard on the same day, so everyone has to put the correct title so that everyone knows what is being ruled on. Next, you are telling the court and the other side 1. Who you mailed the notice to. 2. The date it was filed. 3. What was filed. 4. Where it was filed. Remember, you have filed the motion and the notice of motion and the order. Like the other documents before, put your full name, address, phone number, and email address. Plus, always put next to your signature if you are the debitor, plaintiff, then sign and date the document. Notice of motion. Notice of motion lets the other side and the court know when and where you will come in front of a judge to have your motion ruled on. If you're changing a Chapter 13 to a Chapter 7, the heading will be simple like the one shown. If you are doing student loans, then the heading will be like the one shown. You must put down the correct title. Some lawyers will have more than one motion being heard on the same day, so everyone has to put the correct title so that everyone knows what is being ruled on. The next part, you are telling the other side and the court when and where you will come before the judge to have your motion heard. Judges usually hear motions in the morning. You have to go to the judge's website to find out the days and the times your judge hears motions. When you create your notice of motion, you must give the other side at least 2 weeks to answer and show up for court. Like the other documents shown, put your full name, address, phone number, and email address. Plus, always put next to your signature if you are the debitor, plaintiff. Then, sign and date the notice of motion. Do not forget to put who you are mailing the notice to. Order. The title will just say order, and the title must be all uppercase, underlined, and centered. Just create everything you see in this document, but customize it to your needs. This document you do not sign, but you still put your full name, address, phone number, and email address to let the court know who created it. You can use everything we did here to draft other motions. However, with a memorandum, you do not write an order. Mail. You must mail the other side copies of the motion, certificate of service, notice of filing of motion, notice of motion, and order. And you also must mail the judge a courtesy copy of the motion, certificate of service, notice of filing of motion, notice of motion, and order at least 2 weeks before the date the court will hear the motion. Trial or hearing. At the trial or hearing, the judge will order you to write a brief, the other side to write a response brief to your brief, then you write a reply brief. The title of your brief will be brief. Their title will be response brief. Then your title will be reply brief. However, for changing a Chapter 13 to a Chapter 7, the other side will probably not show up, because for a situation like this, they know it's completely up to your financial situation. Affidavit. An affidavit is the legal way to swear that your statements are true. You can find copies of an affidavit on Google. We also have a copy of an affidavit on our website. You might need an affidavit to tell the court that you have not worked in the past 60 days. You will sign an affidavit in front of a notary public. Your bank should have a free notary public. You draft the affidavit the same way you did the motion with a certificate of service and follow the same procedure. If you have this information, make sure that the judge's name, trustee's name, Chapter 7 or Chapter 13, bankruptcy case number, and the adversary case number is on the document like shown. However, you do not create any notices or the order. Follow the examples given, and remember that you have to sign the affidavit in front of a notary.